Hey, good evening and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the room, please do hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing okay. I know that I am. I always express the importance of hitting the like button because the like button helps to keep the video in the algorithm. Okay. So make sure you guys please like, share, subscribe, comment, and all of those fantastic things. Okay. I wanted to talk about the man that was accused of unaliving young Dolph. Cornelius Smith has court. Okay. We know that Cornelius has court, and I know I haven't talked about this in a long time. Um, but we still talk about it, right? We just don't we just okay. And it seems like this situation with Cornelius has been going on for a very long time, okay? It's like each and every time that he has court, um, it seems like each and every time he has court, it is reset. Okay. It looks like Schultz. Is it Schultz that was his attorney? Shows. It looks like Shows is still retained. Okay. A lot of people we're all wondering, what is going on. Straight Drop was convicted. We're going I believe, into the second year, right? 2026 of around September or something like that would be 2 years that he was sentenced, right? Cornelius, of course, got up on the stand and testified against him, helped to turn state's evidence, even if he had not, um, he would have still been convicted. It just would have made them go into their what's the word that I'm looking for, and I guess into the safe. People forget about those million, pages or whatever. It makes, I guess, it would have made them go into their safe and pull out other evidence and bring in more people, more than likely. Um, and then they had so much evidence on him that it was ridiculous, but it was definitely helpful, that Cornelius got up there and spoke. Okay. He says that he was not looking for any deals or anything like that, but we already know that when people start to talk until they want consideration, okay. Um, you know, I hear a lot of people, and we've all said it. Cornelius actually was the person that knocked him down, and he was the person that knocked him down. But it was a both of them unalived him, okay, because when Stray Drop ran up on him, those neck and face shots definitely came from him. So it does not matter. They both killed him. Okay, they both did the unthinkable. With Cornelius, hey, we've been we're happy, that Cornelius decided to tell the parts that he knew. I definitely believe that he was credible. When he came back and he was in the Govans case, okay. I don't know if Cornelius is on, just from the way he was talking and the way his voice was shaking. Let's pull that up, okay. The way that his voice and stuff was shaking, it leads me to believe that they've had to. It definitely leads me to believe that he's on some type of narcotic or some type of uh, drugs that keeps him sedated for probably like depression or something like that. I'm sure he's on that. Just from how his voice sounds. And I said I was gonna pull that up. Okay. Let's see if we can pull that up. Okay. When he was at Hernandez, he was testifying at Hernandez Govan's trial. Um, who is that? Law and Order, Law and crime that actually, it may be hard to find. Okay, this may be it because Govan's trial was not that long, but of course it was day one, and I think they brought Cornelius in the first day. Okay, yeah, I think he's on some type of antidepressant. Let's put it up. Just look, listen to his voice and stuff. That's kind of what I picked up on.
Pills were you buying, Mr.
Ecstasy and sometimes Percocet pills, oxycodone.
Uh, would you say, why were you buying pills from him?
Because I pop pills. I was popping pills at the time.
Okay.
That was my drug of choice pill.
Did you have a particular reason why you were popping pills?
I had a lot of stress going on, or whatever, and it was on and off thing anyway. But then I was just back on.
Okay, so you can tell from that his spirit is taken. He might be getting some pills in jail. You never know. It's definitely seems like some type of antidepressant. Let's go to when he was in Straight Drops trial. Okay, Justin Cornelius Smith.
Present, did you ever say that you could get up on Dolph real easy because you know where his aunt lives and you see him over there at least once a week? Never said that.
It was easy. I don't know. Probably not.
You lied to him?
Anything. I don't know.
Now we're getting somewhere. You'd say anything.
I'm saying like in the letters because I know for sure that they taking my letters and stuff. So
You told them my lawyer is trying to tell me my best out is working with the feds, helping them, something I never done in my life.
yeah.
So you're telling them I didn't do this. I didn't really do it. But I'm going to say I did it so I can get out of prison.
Nah, I ain't saying it like that. I ain't saying it like that. Like I'm saying like it's my best out to be honest and stuff like that. And, you know what I'm saying? Like be truthful because they already know. So if they already know, why play with these folks? They already know.
And then you said, just so on that point, your lawyer.
Okay, so as you can see, okay, as you can see, um, he was perked up more, at Straight Drops trial. You could tell Hernandez Govan's trial, probably reality and stuff has set in. No telling what has happened since he's been in jail. I don't know if he's been getting a hold of pills again, some type of narcotic. Rather, it's a illegal narcotic, or if it's a if it's an illegal narcotic, or he's on some type of antidepressant. I know a lot of times when people are on those antidepressants, it seems like um, they're drowsy and unmotivated and stuff all the time. Which is, hey, if you gotta have them, have them. But I wouldn't, you know. Um, but for him, I guess um, he's looking at, he's got to pay, pay the consequences of what he's done, which is life behind bars. I do believe that he was on drugs, and I believe that he was manipulated um, to the highest degree because he was on drugs. They looked at him as being nothing, right? And so, whatever their plans were for him, God didn't allow it to happen because the truth had to come out, right? But now we're looking at like the disposition of the case, and the disposition for him at this point is the finale. Now, straight Cornelius had been around some of these young men and stuff, so it's real interesting to me that they have continuous that he said himself that his attorney told him to work with the feds. Okay, his attorney told him to work with the feds, and um hey, who knows what all of that what all of that entails. But hey, what we know is he was supposed to be sentenced a couple months after straight drop, because I don't think he's going to have a trial or anything. um he was supposed to be sentenced. He's admitted to his part, so there would not be a need for him to go on trial. So it'll be interesting to see what the disposition is. Now, he could easily be sentenced for however many years, but if he's working with the federal government, okay, and he knows some things that would be, I guess, beneficial to the federal government. Who knows what could happen? Okay, because um, I'll just say as early as when I was working in Crime Stoppers many years ago, people would try to call. That's when they was doing collect calls, and they would be calling from the jail and stuff, saying, "I know about a murder, and I know about a murder." Just take the call. If they can give me a cut, I could tell them about somebody that was murdered. So you have to think about that. It seems like to me Cornelius has a lot of what's the word that I'm tired. He has a lot of I don't want to say gifts. What's the word that I'm looking for? He got a lot. He has a lot to offer. I can't find the word. He got a lot tied up in his loins. I don't know how often he was around those dudes, but what I do know is that people underestimate quote unquote junkies. Okay. They feel like they're always high and out of it. But I mean, and so they just kind of let them hang around when they're always oftentimes they're not as high as they think that they are, right? So they're always like a sponge, kind of soaking up information. And so who knows? Why would the feds work with Cornelius this long? Not unless he's got some type of information that has been beneficial. You think about it, it's been like it's been a while now, so um hey, he may very well get there next month because that is supposed to be the finale. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not reset again. Cornelius does not have any loyalty to any of these people because um, they didn't have any loyalty to him, right? And you have to pay your retribution to society. When you've done crimes of this such, but I think it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if he get 30, 40 years. He might get 50. But I wouldn't be surprised, when all of the sensationalism of the case has died down quite a bit, and people tend to move on with their lives. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't decide to check Cornelius' status one day, and in about 5 or 6 years, and his time has gone from 40 years to maybe 25. Okay. I won't be surprised by that one bit, okay? And so, hey, you know, listen. What people have to understand is, your sins will find you out. Cornelius and them sins found him out. And sometimes, hey, at this point, I don't know if Cornelius knew a whole lot about this young dog situation other than the immediate type situation of what he said, when he was brought there with Juke and all of that. I do believe that. Anything beyond that, I don't think that he necessarily had the privy of really knowing, other than maybe some hearsay or something hearsay. Because now I do remember he said now that he never talked to Gotti, but he knew that they was doing this because for him. Okay, he never talked to him. He knew it doing this for him. But then, I mean, we don't really know um, of other murders he may have heard about, because obviously they got some type of interest in him. But even still, I guess the prospects of looking at a whole lot of time for basically for nothing, because they sure did him dirty. If I was him, I'd do exactly what he doing. I'd be doing it too. I'd be telling everything I thought I knew. Okay, because you know, especially when you start coming down off of that high and stuff, and you start to rationalize, hey, it was wrong to do it for the money, but they never intended on paying him any money, and God wasn't gonna let that work out anyways, because you don't take money to kill somebody. That's just evil. And um he's in jail, right? And his life is ultimately messed up also. Okay. They messed up another man's life and family, and they messed their lives up ultimately, you know. So I don't think Cornelius ever really had any malice for straight drop. I think, according to, them kites and stuff that they was intercepting, they were on one accord. Okay. Straight drop always wanted for um Cornelius to tell. He wanted Cornelius to tell. He didn't want to tell. He wanted it to be Cornelius. That's why you didn't necessarily see. He didn't seem to have any anger towards Cornelius. I mean, towards Straight Drop. He had more so anger towards Quit. Okay, and so yeah. So that's going to be interesting. And I don't think Cornelius got no. I don't think Straight Drop got any anger towards Cornelius. I mean, why would he? Cornelius did what he asked him to do. Okay, and that was to tell God on Jesus. Okay, so I don't think there's any malice there. That's why you never heard him really say anything real bad about Justin Johnson, but you did hear him say quite a bit about Hernandez Govan for some reason, and I believe whoever these people were, they had decided, that they wanted to just put everything on the shoulders of Quit. That's why when Quit be sitting up talking about, Yo Gotti this, I know Quit don't give a damn about Yo Gotti. Hell, Yo Gotti and Juke them and the rest of them were the ones that turned Straight Drop them against him to ensure that they told on him. And they was going to nail his ass to the cross too, to make sure that everything fell on his shoulders, just like they was doing Straight Dropping. Okay. So I don't necessarily buy that, but I can't blame Cornelius. I don't think they feel like Cornelius is a threat, but I know that a lot of them glad that they didn't talk to Cornelius. Hell, I know they glad that they didn't talk to him, because he would have done told it too. But who knows what, Cornelius living in that area and kind of hanging around them dudes sometimes. Who knows what else he has seen and heard. Who knows what Bobby Carter has told him, and they've been able to go and look into it and find some things and shit. So that's gonna be interesting. He definitely has not hid the fact that he's working. Okay. He hasn't hid the fact that he's working. And child, it just ain't no telling who else ain't working. Right? It ain't no telling. But the moral of the story is I hate that. I've always said this, that these young men did this to themselves, because there was so many possibilities and stuff like that for them. And so I hate that they took this route. There was always another route to take. But of course, they thought that they would get away with it, right? and God ain't gonna let them get away. God didn't allow it. And so who knows what's gonna come out. I'd be surprised if the court date ain't reset for next month. But all he got to do, that's real short. It ain't no trials. It ain't no nothing. I mean, all he got to do is walk in there and they tell him the disposition of his case. And that's the easiest phase, right? That's the easiest phase. But for some reason, it just keeps being reset, you know. So I guess they ain't finished. I don't know. Anyways, you guys, I just want to talk about that. It's some. I'm gonna go live tonight. I want to talk about the Romika Meek story, of course, and probably we'll talk about some more stuff. Anyways, you guys, I want you guys to please like, share, and subscribe. If you like to support the channel, you could definitely support the channel via Cash App.